Okay, another short one. Mostly to test this microphone, which I think does literally nothing. So we'll find out. Anyway, this could actually be a really long one, but it's my birthday and I'm gonna do some cool stuff with my wife, so it's gonna be a really quick one. Coincidentally, she just got me a really awesome book as well, which, there you go. I suggest, because there's been a couple of these complete morons, people that say like, oh, the moon is not real and whatever, the earth is flat. These people are mentally retarded. So here you go. There's the moon. There you go. That's what it's called. And that's the publisher, the name of the guy who wrote it. And I strongly suggest you buy this if you're a flat earther and a moon guy, because if you're one of these cretins that believes that the moon doesn't exist, it's a lamp or whatever, one of those stupid things, you have to explain, and you think that NASA's lying and making it all up and there's no such thing as space. Well, then you'd have to explain why is it that the Greeks knew that the moon was a planet orbiting around Earth, and they knew this before the Bible was ever put together, hundreds of years before it was put together. So now you have to explain, oh, who's trying to falsify the Bible, Secondly, those people that think that the idea of a ginormous universe with galaxies, clusters of galaxies, superclusters of galaxies, and the supercluster of galaxies being just little dots that are spread out through trillions of light years, well, certainly billions of light years, those people are morons, because you clearly, and it stems again from Protestantism, the Protestantist stupid binary thinking of, God is as big as your bathtub. No. God is far bigger than your tiny little ant-like mind can encompass. And all I see when I look up at the sky and I see the Milky Way and I look at the moon, the planets, and stars going on for billions of years, all I see is the majesty of God. You have no idea of the size of God. You have no idea of the power of God. So for you to sit there and say, oh yeah, well, we can't have an infinite like universe. We can't have billions of stars, trillions of stars just in our galaxy and trillions of galaxies. No. Yes, we can. God is that big, that huge, that majestic. So no, you're just too stupid and too small in your brain. But I will be doing eventually some more videos on, the moon once I use this monster of a thing to start be able to take pictures and stuff. But, if you think the moon is a lamp, you're a moron. And this is what I've learned. You see, I get upset by this because I think, how can anybody be that fucking stupid? That's why I got the whiteboard, because I'm going to have to start educating people. I realized that the reason that millennials or, drug burnt out boomers or whatever are so incompetent that they can't figure out that the moon is a real object that spins around the earth, that the earth is a globe. The reason they can't understand this is because for them, the idea that, we have a moon that spins around the earth and the earth spins around the sun, you could be talking about Hansel and Gretel. They're basically, millennials are 30-something-year-olds stumbling about as if they were adults. But really, they have the education of a 4-year-old. You tell a 4-year-old the story of Hansel and Gretel, and then you tell them that the moon is made of cheese, and they don't know any better. And they cannot tell the difference. They literally do not have the mathematical skills, the logical skills, the critical thinking ability to figure out for themselves whether the moon is a real object or not. They don't. They don't understand what trigonometry is. They don't understand what a trigonometrical function is. They don't understand SOHCAHTOA. It's just a magic nonsense word I just said for most people that are millennials. They don't know the basics of algebra. They don't understand set theory. They barely probably can understand percentages. And that's why, if the idea of the princess and the frog is as real to you as the moon being made of cheese or the moon being flat or the earth being flat, It's because you literally do not have the education to know basic maths. And unfortunately, that is the case. Now, I don't put the entire blame on, the education system, the Satanist and the scummy government. Sure, all that's going on. But, you've got YouTube. If you can operate an iPhone, if you can operate the internet to some degree, there is no excuse why you should be this ignorant. You can learn to do trigonometry. You can learn how to do algebra on videos. You don't even have to learn to read, really. So it's on you. It's on you. If you're that incompetent mentally that you can't tell the difference between the moon being a flat lamp in the sky or it being an actual planet spinning around the Earth, it's on you. You are that stupid. And if you're one of those people, don't bother me with such idiocy. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I'm not going to answer your stupid ass questions. Get yourself this book, okay? It's got all sorts of stuff in there. It's got everything in it. It teaches you from basic principles so you can figure out whether the moon's real or not. The basic math. It shows you Newton's equations of how he got the gravity constant. It shows you his calculations, walks you through them, tells you the history of the moon, tells you how the ancient Greeks knew about it, how they figured out the size of it, how they figured out the size of the Earth and that the Earth's a globe. It's all in there. Okay? And it's not a conspiracy theory. You can test it. Okay? You can test it. Now, if you do not understand the basic principle of science, which was invented by Catholic monks, by the way, for the most part, if you don't understand the repeatability of science, the fact that science, when done correctly, the scientific method used correctly, tests things, makes predictions, and once your predictions are shown to be correct again and again and again, then your theory is valid until a better theory comes along or it's shown to not predict certain things, in which case the theory needs revising, updating, or improving. That's the scientific method. That's how you know things. That's how you learn to know things. It's one of the ways to know the world around you, okay? If you don't accept that the scientific method exists and has a purpose and is useful, then you are a pagan, a complete pagan in the deepest sense of the word. You only believe in magic. You only believe in, luck, misfortune, possibly demons, spirits. You believe in all sorts of nonsense, but you do not believe in real testable reality, okay? You're essentially a shaman-driven, you're not the shaman. You are the peasant driven by the shamans, the wizards, that will make you believe whatever they want by showing you some flashing lights and a CGI on a computer. That's it, okay? Now, having said all that, the moon landings were faked, and yet we did go to the moon. Okay, I've done a video on that. It's video number 3. Check it out. There's a series of videos that I'm busy doing about that will eventually come out. And I am going to start doing some educational videos for millennials because I realize, that you're too incompetent to be able to talk. Now, I'm not a patient man. I've never been. I probably never will be. So when I do these lessons for the millennials, I will label them as such. But I'm not going to take your, your skepticism about the moon. And no, fuck off. You're too stupid to talk. You haven't earned the right to make a comment on my channel about the reality of the moon. And you never will. People that believe that way, go away. Go away. Don't come on this channel. I've posted the link and I'm going to put it in the footnotes here to a guy who's a scientist, a normal person, who basically shoots the crap out of the whole flat earth theory. And he's a patient man because there is no way I would have taken that much time to do what he did. But of course, he does it quite well, and he does it in a way that even the mentally damaged people that believe that the earth is flat can actually sort of, even though they're drooling morons, some of it might actually get through to them because he's got nice little pictures showing them all the stuff that normal people can figure out in 5 minutes flat, right? So yeah, bit of a rant, but it's my birthday. I get to do what I want. And you know, the moon is not real thing. That's just idiotic. It stems from you not having a foundation on which to base any objective reality. The only way you can think that way is if there is no difference for you between a story about the Princess and the Frog or Rapunzel or Hansel and Gretel and somebody telling you that, you know, 2 and 2 is 4. That is the level that you're talking about. Okay? So if you think that the moon is whatever, you might not be an evil person. You're certainly not an intelligent one. I'll tell you that right now. You do not have 150 IQ with 100% certainty. Okay? Unless you're brain damaged somewhere or emotionally damaged, which that can happen. You know, you could have 150 IQ and be so emotionally damaged that you can't know anything, right? There's an element of that in well, I'll keep that to myself. But you know, Owen does need to take a little bit of the blame for some of this stuff because he's got a huge following, and he's wrong. He is just wrong about a whole bunch of stuff on astronomy. I love Owen. Okay, he's a good guy. I consider him a buddy, and I'm not in any way disavowing him. But you know, people make mistakes, and I understand why Owen thinks the way he thinks. He's been lied. I've mentioned this before. He's been lied to by everybody on a very serious level from a very young age, from very important people in his life. He's told that story. So it makes sense that he would be skeptical about everything, but that doesn't mean he's right, okay? And the one thing I do like about Owen, and I liked from the get-go, he has made some big mistakes. He has made big mistakes of judgment on various things, people, and so on. But when he eventually figures it out, he owns up to it. So Owen, if you're watching ever, I love you, man. You know, I'm on your side 100%. But you're wrong about the moon, and you're wrong about the Earth not being a globe, okay? And if you want, I'm happy to take time with you to go over it, all right? If you ever come to England, you're going to look through this big fucking telescope with me, and you'll see that the moon has got fucking mountains on it, that it moves, and that it spins, you know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you're not aware of. You know, the bit where you talk about, oh, all the planets spinning in the same direction, it's a coincidence that doesn't happen. No, it's not a coincidence, Owen. It's not. All right, so you know, we don't know each other, but I've been on your side from day one, and that hasn't changed and isn't going to change right now. You know, I'm 100% on your side. I mean, I don't know if you start killing kids or something, but you know, I don't expect you would ever do any such thing. So I am on your side. I'm completely on your side, not against you in any way, shape, or form, not disavowing you in any shape or form, but you're wrong about the moon and the Earth. So just letting you know. And no doubt the little gammas and all the other little freaks are going to try and use this to make some drama. And I know that I think you might be banned off YouTube or partially banned or something, or for a week or something. So I hate, you know, just, well, I didn't really want to mention this now, I suppose, because I don't want you to not be able to respond if you want to, but you've got my details. I've written to you, so if you want to respond or whatever, you want to Skype or you want to tell me what an asshole I am, you've got my Skype. Go for it anytime you want. I'll give you as much time as you want, and I'll put it up. No worries. So I'm not, you know, I'm not disavowing you. I'm not criticizing. I am criticizing you on the things where you're materially, factually wrong. But it's not a judgment on your character. Okay, it's a judgment on your objective ability to know certain things that you're wrong on. That's it. So although idiots don't want to make drama out of it, yeah, go for it. You know, whatever. It's not going to affect me. I don't think it's going to affect Owen in any way either. But yeah, so I will be doing some. I'm going to do a little bit of an educational video now and then, which hopefully you will enjoy, because I'm going to try and keep them a little bit entertaining and interesting. And I think the first one that I will do is probably one that blasts atheists out of the water. Okay, after the next video I'll do, which is it's going to be called something like Blasting the Atheists or something like that. That if after you see that video you continue to be an atheist, it's because you literally cannot do basic maths. Okay, I'm going to take you through a couple of things with the help of a very awesome lady who came up with the maths for this. I've never done an exercise like that simply because I know the maths instinctively. I knew the maths and I never bothered to try to do the calculation, but she did on Twitter, and I've asked her for permission to use it, and she said please go ahead, so I will. She's done a lot of awesome work, so I will be referring to her quite a few times, and she, I think, is going to be doing a series for Unauthorized TV and possibly for Castelia House of educational books. She's an astrophysicist, great lady. I've known her for a few years online, and her husband, a good guy. So you know, and that's all I'll say for now, because I want to try and keep this short. But yep, so all of you that are not sure about the moon, I'll show you the book cover once again. Buy this book. It's brilliant. It's really, really good. I've read a lot of books about the moon and all sorts of you know, astronomy books. I've literally got boxes of the stuff, okay? But this book was particularly good. It's really good because it's got the whole history of it from the ancient Greeks, and telling you about how they knew what they knew and how they figured out what they figured out. And some of the stuff it's stuff you can do yourself. It's some of these are exercises you can do at home. You can figure them out, and it's interesting. It's fun. You know, you'll learn something. You can see it for yourself. You know, like the whole moon shadow thing, which I showed you guys with a pin in one of my videos, with a pin and my sun, which is the my lampshade. And you can see the umbra, the penumbra. You know, umbra is just a word that means shadow, and penumbra means half shadow. It's Latin. There's nothing fancy about it. It's not a magic word. You know, it's a word that's used. It's a technical term used for certain astronomical things. So, well, that's it for now. Like I said, bit of a ranty Kurgan on his birthday, but you know what it is. I'm 50 now, so I'm gonna get crankier. You know, Gran Torino. Watch that film. You know, opening scene. My then wife was elbowing me in the ribs going, that's you, that's gonna be you. But, you know, it's not really true, because Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino was a real softie, and, you know, he just kind of went out a bit like a pussy. It's not gonna be me, you know, nah. Le Valette is my model, and if I have to die, I hope it'll be at 105 while I take out a bunch of my enemies. There you go, and have a good evening.